Hello and welcome back to another episode of You Want to Do What with Dan and Julie. Today we've got Oscar on, who is a blacksmith. Hi Oscar, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you.
Good. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you actually do, Oscar?
So I'm a blacksmith. I would class myself probably as an artistic blacksmith. And so this is different to, say, farriering, which is what a lot of people think of when they think of blacksmiths. You know, they think of shoeing horses. And so I'm not a blacksmith who shoes horses. I make sculptures. I make all sorts of things like gates. You know, I'm very much an artistic blacksmith rather than a farrier who deals with horses.
So it's funny you say they're the two. To me, I think Dan and I actually spoke about this before we started here. I think of blacksmith, I just think of like swords and knives.
Well, yeah. So that's the other thing. You know, you get asked. So what do you make? And you go, you know, people will ask you, do you shoe horses? And I say no. Do you make swords? And I say no. Do you make axes? I say no. And then they go, well, what do you make? And it's you know, it's all that.
I can't imagine there's much of a market for a broadsword these days.
No. I mean, you'll be surprised. I've seen, you know, plenty of people making swords and things, but yeah, it's never something that I've done.
So where did all this start for you?
So as a kid, I like to make things. You know, I was always making things with my hands, and I used to make bows and arrows.
That's quite cool.
Yeah. I would put stone points on the end of these arrows, but they weren't very good because they'd hit rocks and things and then snap off. So I was thinking, you know, how can I make these arrows better? And I thought steel points. So I literally looked it up on YouTube, how to make steel arrowheads, and there pops up this video of a blacksmith making these arrowheads, and I was like, well, there we go, I'll do that. So me, age 13. Went out in the garden, dug a hole, made myself some charcoal, used my mum's hairdryer, my dad's claw hammer, and a block of wood. made this steel arrowhead, and then literally after that, I was like, "Well, I've got a forge now, so what else can I make?"
That is a brilliant story.
You made arrows at the age of 13.
Yeah, I was
in a fired forge as well.
Yeah,
a dangerous child.
Yeah, that's incredibly ingenuitive. Using your mum's hairdryer.
Well, yeah. Just stuff that I could find around the house. I didn't have any money, so.
So what happened after that? What was school like for you, and what was your progress there?
Yeah, so I did do, at school, I did DT design, you know, design technology. And in that, I was able to do blacksmithing, because there was actually a forge at school, a gas forge at school. So I did that for my GCSE, or one of my GCSEs, and then I've just finished college, and at college I've been doing product design again, just at A level, and again I've been doing blacksmithing and that. But on Saturdays for about the past sort of 4 years, I was working part-time with Bill Carter at Trap Forge, and so that was sort of a part-time apprenticeship really, where I've properly, you know, built up my skills through that.
And then have you started your own sort of business on the side now? Is that what you're going into? Yeah.
So Trap Forge is finished, and Bill's moved on to some other work at the moment. It's actually interesting what he's doing. He's still working as a blacksmith. I think his official title is Forge Master now, and he's working.
That's wicked.
Making steam trains, making parts for steam trains, because all of they're
all bespoke stuff. Yeah.
It's all forged work, so they have like a 3-year order book there. It's ridiculous, the amount of work, because they're about the only place in the country that are doing it.
Has that ever intrigued you, that kind of line of work?
Yeah, so that is more industrial. You know, they have a power hammer there, which I think is a 2-ton weight. So the steel that comes down weighs 2 ton, which is, you know, huge compared with my 3-pound hammer or whatever I use. But yeah, I am interested in that bigger side, you know, the more industrial stuff. I think it would be cool to do. So
obviously you spoke about the stuff you do now. You do like gates and artistry, bits of metalwork.
Yeah.
How did you sort of find that? And did you sort of learn that through school and college, or was it more just you practicing that sort of stuff?
So a lot of it is not through college. I had those tutors at college, but they were very much design tutors, and they had no idea what I was doing. All the stuff that I was doing, I've either taught myself or I learned it off Bill on Saturdays. The tutors themselves didn't really, I was sort of a bit of a wild card. They didn't really know what to do, so they just left me to it, and I was able just to make what I wanted.
And so, how come you chose the more artistry side of things?
Mainly because I don't really like horses.
Fair enough.
And farrieing, you day in, day out, you go in and you're shoeing horses, and that's all that you're doing. Whereas with this, it changes every day. Every day I'm making something different, which is that variety. It gives it interest, and you have that artistic ability to make these designs and hopefully create something that somebody will want to buy.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing with blacksmithing now. Like you say, unless you're on the industrial side, which I assume is obviously so much smaller than it used to be. You talked about,
yeah, it is, yeah.
Making train parts and whatnot. But what's the market like for blacksmithing stuff? Your artistry stuff. Is it all local stuff, or is it? Are you selling to who are you selling to?
Yeah, so usually it would have been local stuff, but now with social media, it's ridiculous some of the places that I've sent stuff to. Like, I've sent stuff to Moscow, I've sent stuff to France, I've sent stuff to the States, all over. It's international now, just through that, wow, social media platform out there on the internet, and it's amazing.
And is that them asking you for specific stuff, or do you sort of have a catalogue that people buy from?
So yeah, that's the split. So I've got a website, and on the website there are set products which I'll make in a batch. So I'll do 15 or 30 of them as a batch to then put on the website, and people can look on there and buy them if they want. And then there's the commissions. So somebody might come to me and go, can you make a fire pit or something? And I'll go, yeah, I can do this design for this much money, or this design for this much money. And it's sort of I suggest something, they comment on it, comes back to me, and it's that relay of communication.
I guess blacksmithing's had a bit of a revival in the public eye over recent years. Julie was talking about the swords and whatnot, and I think that all comes from the Forged in Fire show.
Yes.
And things like that. Does that ever intrigue you? Would you ever sort of, if somebody said you will commission, some sort of weapon, or you really focused on the artistry side?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would ever make a weapon to sell. I think I might do it for myself, but I think if somebody came to me going, can you make me a claymore? Can you make me a broadsword? I'd probably go, no. It's not something really that I want to be doing. I prefer the natural forms and all of these flowing designs. That's what I like to do, really.
So what's an average day for you like at the moment?
So it does change day to day, as I was saying. It varies, and there is that split between the production stuff and the commissions. But generally, I'll get up, go to work 9 o'clock, be there, light the forge. Well, depends on what I'm doing. If I'm on the forge, I'll light the forge and make. Usually, if I'm doing stuff for the website, I'll do a batch run. So I'll be using jigs and things. So let's say I'm making a lot of hearts. I'll cut all the steel for that, forge out, say 30 hearts. That might take me a day. And then the next day I might do another production run on a different item, or be doing a commission piece, which is then a bit more unique and a bit more specialist for that particular client.
Obviously you've had to set up a forge. What was sort of the process of you sort of getting involved with your own forge and setting up your own business in that way?
So I was very lucky because I'd known Bill Carter, and as I was saying, he then stopped at Trap Forge and went off to do his own the Forge Master thing at the train place. And so he was downsizing, and so I managed to get a lot of equipment off him, which was very useful. And then I have a building just on a farm where I've put all my equipment in, which I work off, and that's really useful for me. But a lot of people, they'll just get a little building on an industrial estate, or like Bill at the moment, he has a forge at his home, which is just in his garage. So that's
blimey.
Yeah, I know it's there's a lot of variety.
Is this a very much based around your forge kind of job, or do you do a bit of traveling where you go and sort of look for inspiration or materials, or how does that work?
So that's the other side to it, is the selling point. That's one of the things, is that you will go around quite often to do shows. So like the Yorkshire show, all these agricultural shows, quite often I'll go get a stand there and set up. So I might be doing a demonstration as well as having a table with a load of products on for sale. And that tends to happen in the summer. So I might be doing a couple of shows throughout the summer. But then also there's what I want to do now is travel around England and then hopefully the world, depending on COVID and all of that situation, and work with a load of different blacksmiths. So go around sort of almost like a journeyman apprenticeship, traveling, looking at how different people do it from different cultures and all of their designs, and using that for my own inspiration.
What part of the world intrigues you the most with their blacksmithing? Would it be somewhere like, I don't know, Japan or somewhere like that?
Japan is a pretty cool place. Blacksmithing in Japan is very different, I would say, but something that I'm definitely interested in. It's very special. The tool making side of it is very interesting. But on social media and things, there's a lot of Russian blacksmiths actually. Okay. On the sort of the gate side of things and the ornamental side, there's a lot coming out of Russia, which I was surprised at, but it's interesting. So I might go there at some point.
Okay. Now, obviously, over hundreds of years back, it's always been a blacksmith has produced any metal work or iron work that's been needed. And obviously, it's been industrialized over the years.
Yeah.
Do you see much competitiveness when your own industry as blacksmith to these industrial places, producing like gates day in, day out?
Yes. Yeah. In a way, there is that, I'll make a set of gates, which are, I would like to think, of better quality to those industrial ones, which, they are mass produced and they aren't the best quality. But a lot of people aren't prepared to pay for the gate which I will make, rather than just having that in my mind, that piece of rubbish sitting outside the house. And it's you got to know what they're going to value, and so you have to pitch yourself as that traditional handmade piece of ironwork that's going to last for ages.
I have to say, we've had quite a few sort of artisans, I guess we'd refer to you as, or people that work with their hands, and I think there is a real push now from the customer to go for something that's more handmade and a bit better quality, that will last longer.
Definitely.
And has a bit more about it, I guess. Definitely.
I think that is definitely the main selling point from my point of view, but also it's as a consumer myself, as a customer myself, it's something you take an item and you think somebody else has made that with their hands, and the amount of work that's gone into it, and you can sort of, it gains sentimental value, rather than this thing that might have been made by a machine in a different country. It's not local, and it's that contrast, and that is where the value comes in, and that's why you would value the better quality handmade product, hopefully.
Mm. And what about the science side of forging? The different temperature points and what you blend with. How hard is that to learn?
So there is I would say the heat treatment is the main science point in blacksmithing. And so a lot of the time what we have to do is we have to make our own tools. So hammers and chisels and punches and all sorts of things. And then you have to heat treat them. And so the heat treatment is basically where you heat a carbon steel, quench it in oil, which makes it hard, and then you have to temper it so that it doesn't snap, as it makes it very brittle. And you have to know the correct temperature to quench it at, and then the correct temperature to bring it back up to tempering, which can be a little bit complicated, as every steel is different, and some steels won't get hard, other steels are a bit useless, like cast iron is just too brittle for forging uses, really. And so you have to learn what you're doing when you're making tools and how to temper them correctly. That's not so much relevant in the ornamental stuff that I do. In the day-to-day stuff, I don't heat treat that because there's no point, really. So you do have to know that temperature gauge, and you learn that yourself through the color of the steel. That's the main giveaway.
Okay. And what sort of personality traits do you see a blacksmith requiring?
A lot of people would say blacksmiths are rather grumpy people and angry, as they tend to hit steel all day. But I would like to think that you have to be sort of, you're not angry all the time, obviously. If you are angry, you are just beating the hell out of this piece of steel, and you're not controlling yourself. You have to be determined, is what I would say. Resilient. You can't, you are swinging this hammer all day, every day. You have to have a bit of physical strength, but you have to also have an open mind, in a way. As on the artistic side of it, you gain inspiration from the world around you, and so you want that open approach to everything, and just give it your all, really.
I watched one of your videos earlier today. You made a tool where you could sort of do a bark impression.
Yes.
It was a great watch, actually. And it seemed like, obviously, it's quite a physical job. Do you find that's quite, at the end of the day, you're a bit tired, a bit knackered?
Yes. At the end of the week, I am rather knackered. But you do get used to it. I can remember that when I started, it was particularly your forearm, actually, that's where what would ache, after you've been swinging a hammer all day. And I would sweat, I'm always sweating. I have a fan blowing on me to keep me cool, but it doesn't really work. I'm next to the forge, which is, 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
So I get very hot and tired, but at the end of the day, I like my bed. I like my sleep.
So what are some of the biggest opportunities and positives you've taken from the industry so far?
So I have to say that it is a very giving community, as in the blacksmithing community. So I go to the Yorkshire show a lot, or once a year, and there's a group of blacksmiths who go to that, and they're all really nice people, and I get to go see them, see some master smiths, watch them work. And they're all really helpful in giving me pointers on how I can improve, but also just a really nice bunch of people.
That's really good. That is such a community based, particularly in a job like yours, where there's not a blacksmith in every village, sort of thing, is there?
No.
Please.
So some days I'm just there, it's only me in the workshop.
Yeah.
So to get away from that and actually go and meet a load of other people who are doing the same thing as me, even if they are miles away.
Yeah, exactly. And what would be some of the more or less favourable aspects of the job?
You are never clean. You are always dirty. You are covered in coal dust or steel dust. I'll tell you, my shower, there's little orange speckles in the bottom of it. And I was looking at that the other day and I was like, that's rust. Which is
my God.
steel dust coming off me and rusting into the bottom of the shower. So yeah, you are always dirty, always smell of smoke. But it's a good laugh, good fun.
Good fun. So we do a little bit of research on every industry that we have on, sort of average income wise, and we found some figures. So starting blacksmith can be between 15 to sort of 19,000, and then with a lot of years of experience, it could possibly go up to as high as maybe 30,000. Now you've just started out, but from your experience and people you know, does that sound about right?
I would say that is about right. Maybe if you are like an apprentice, which I suppose is almost what I am. I'm starting out. I'm at the very bottom. That sort of 15 to 20,000 sounds about right. But then I would say that if you are an experienced master blacksmith and you are at the top of your game, I would say that you probably earn a little bit more than 30,000, maybe 40,000. Okay.
And what are these master blacksmiths doing? Are they doing a similar thing to you, the artistry side, or do they get employed by companies to do certain things?
So there aren't really many companies that will employ blacksmiths. A lot of them are just self-employed, and they are doing the same thing. They'll be doing, gates again is the main sort of income piece, but then also other house renovations and things like that. So the fireplaces, banisters, staircase banisters, things like that, railings, lots of stuff.
And what would be something that's not in the job description that you have to deal with?
That's a good question. I'd say probably it is the tool making.
Okay.
And it's the problem solving. Somebody comes to you and they say, can you make me this? Whatever it is, you've got to think, okay, I've got this straight piece of steel. How can it's all about the imagination and imagination in your head on how to get from A to B, what steps you need to do, whether you need to make any tools to get the finished product made. And that, in a way, is also what I quite like, but it's something that I didn't really think of at the start.
How does somebody begin to progress within the industry? You've mentioned you're an apprentice kind of level. How are you gonna reach the master blacksmith level? Is it a qualification or is it just experience?
So there are qualifications that you can do.
Okay.
Down at Hereford University, I believe you can actually do a degree in artistic blacksmithing.
Oh wow.
But that is an option for me. But I think what I want to do is, like I said before, go and travel. So go and meet other master blacksmiths and work with them for a little while, so you can sort of, absorb their knowledge in a way.
I have to say, we actually had a farrier on recently.
Oh, yes.
And that was his big takeaway for anybody getting into sort of the blacksmith farrowing world, is to go round and work with, very skilled professionals and just offer your services. And he said that was what he wished he had done.
Yeah, go and find a master blacksmith and say, I'll sweep up your forge for a month if you let me just watch you. You've got to get in there. You've got to dive in. You can't just be learning theory. You have to go see it yourself and then have a go at it. Go and do it.
So the industry is very much a mentored industry that you have to learn from somebody, get them to take you under your wing and learn that way.
That, I would say, is the quickest way to do it. But obviously, like at the start, I was just trying to teach myself.
Yeah.
But I would do that through YouTube and watch other people on YouTube and then go home and do it myself.
And what do you think the future of blacksmithing is? What do you see it progressing into? Is it more of that artisan thing that you're doing, and hopefully the customer will really start to, love that kind of side of it?
Yeah, that is the way that we've got to go is handmade, locally made products. And there is the challenge for blacksmiths of the environment, the climate change crisis. Is I go to work every day and I burn bags of coal, and that has to change. And so there are options available to us. So induction forges, induction furnaces are probably the way that we're going to have to go, and they're powered by electricity. They do pull quite a lot of current, but that's probably the way that we're going to have to go to get around burning coal, burning gas to actually sustain blacksmithing.
And would you still go into the industry knowing all you know now?
Yes, definitely.
Brilliant.
I love it. Yeah.
And so you've actually got your YouTube channel out, which like I mentioned, I watched a video earlier, and you've got a great Instagram profile where you share all your stuff and tips and sort of tricks as well.
Yeah.
And how would you see that progressing? Is that going to be a big selling point for you?
So I think the social media presence is key. Definitely. There's the orders that I'm getting in, people will often say, "Oh, I like your Instagram," "Oh, I like your YouTube," and it's about half of the orders that I get is through all that social media presence. But I started it really to show what I was making, but also to be the person that I used to watch, if you know what I mean, to be the person who is helping other people try to get into the craft, giving my knowledge away to try and increase popularity in blacksmithing.
That's a very cool thing to be doing. Listen, thank you so much, Oscar, for coming on. It's been a great privilege to chat with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. Where can people find your YouTube, Instagram, and anything else you've got?
So YouTube is just Oscar Duck, I think. Instagram is Oscar Duck _blacksmith. And then I've also got a Facebook page, which is Oscar Duck Blacksmith.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome talking to you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Oscar. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.